Hello. Hi. Hello. Hi. Good to see all these beautiful faces. Names. Hi. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Renata. I'm using this really fun filter that my friend Taylor she started using in her stories, so I started using it too. Hi. Hi, Puya. Hi, Warmon. Hi. Beautiful. Well, we're here live, and I just wanted to gather and be present for you all and have a little Q&A. I'm open for any kind of questions that you guys might have about, any hot seat coaching we can do. I'm happy to do that. Anything around your pleasure, anything around what might be coming up for you right now in this particular time of year. Most of the people that I've been talking to recently have been feeling a bit of like questioning, a bit of heaviness around decisions that they're making in their lives, moving forward with that, feeling like they're in the right place, and that's very natural, right? For this time of year, we're in December, we're getting towards the solstice, the winter solstice, the darkest time of the year and into the new year, right? So there's a lot of anxiety that can come up around that, around our worthiness, whether we've accomplished the goals that we thought we were going to in this past year, a lot of expectations that we've had for ourselves, a lot of what we want to see happen in the next year, where we're at in our love life, where we're at in our pleasure. Are we feeling pleasured? If we're not feeling pleasure, are we being hard on ourselves and putting pressure on ourselves to adjust to that? So yeah, give me like a little heart or a wave if you've been feeling any of that, and just want to normalize that feeling right now. And let me know if you guys are just excited, if you guys want to, what you guys want to talk about. What kind of questions do you have? What's been going on for you all? Hi, welcome. The Art of Attunement. I love that. Attunement. That's something that I practice a lot. Attuning to other people. It's so important in relationships. We have to make sure that we attune to our partners if we want to practice deep connection and intimacy and lovemaking. And attunement is really just paying attention to the other person's the way that they are, the way that they're breathing, the way that where they're looking, if we're distracted or not, if we're present, and if we attune to other people in our lives, we can create a really deep, solid foundation for connection. Yeah. Well, until anybody has any questions for me, I can share a little bit. I'm going to be having a free 2-day workshop this weekend. I'm really excited about that. It's going to be super juicy. I haven't done one of these in a while. And I'm really going to be offering everything that has to do with pleasure and what it means to be in pleasure, what it means to be living a life of pleasure. How do we get there, right? What does it mean to be in pleasure? What does that mean? All of us have possibly a slightly different connotation of what pleasure is. Some people think it's like really sexual. It has to do with their sexuality, it has to do with being a partner, it has to do with intimacy. For other people, it's like, being relaxed, being rejuvenated, going on vacation. Sometimes pleasure is related to success. So pleasure can have all these different meanings. Hi, James. Thank you for being here. And so we're going to be going deep into what pleasure is, what keeps us from living in pleasure, and what are the tools and different steps to make sure that we're living a life aligned in pleasure. And so it's going to be 2 days. It's going to be live in my Facebook group. And you can find some information there on the last post that I posted. And also it's a great thing to do to step into the new year, right? As we're heading towards Christmas and the holidays, and we're going to be around lots of people, lots of possibly inviting new lovers to spend time with us in the holidays. It's cold, it's cozy, where there's all sorts of things that happen in this new year time, and around Christmas. So stepping into pleasure is a great thing to harness into, to be able to have an immersive experience, especially when we have a safe space to explore what is pleasure. and how we want to bring and ignite more pleasure into our lives. So that's what we're going to be going into. I hope you guys can join me there. I'm getting a question. What is your zodiac sign, sun, moon, and what types of signs do you find yourself connecting with the most intimately? That's a fun question. So I'm a Gemini. I'm a Gemini rising and moon, I believe. I'm a double Gemini, so yeah, that's fun all the time. Which means I love to live off spontaneity. I love communication. I love connecting. I'm very adaptable. I love all that kind of like fun, go with the flow stuff. That's really easy for me. And oddly enough, I really seem to attract Virgos into my life. That's been like my number one attractor, which is supposed to be completely opposite from me, but my mom's a Virgo, and pretty much most of the men I've dated are Virgos. I think that I balance well with like structure and that like attunement to like particular things, because I'm so like kind of, yeah, just more like flowy, so I like that groundedness. You're Gemini too, June 17th? Cool, I'm May 27th. Beautiful. You're a Taurus, yeah, good. We've got all sorts of signs in here. Beautiful. So let me know what's going on for you guys. What kind of pleasure questions do you have? What's happening in your intimate world? What are you wanting to call in? Maybe we can do that. Why doesn't everybody here just close their eyes for a second? Or maybe you already know. What is it that you're calling in for this new year? What kind of pleasure do you want to increase? Whether it's oh, hi, David. Good to see you. Yeah, what are you calling in for this new year? And how can you get more clear on what it is that you want? What it is that you want to ignite in your mind, in your body, in your spirit in this new year? I'm also really excited to be announcing that I'm going to be having one of my last group courses in the new year. And oh, hi, Gail. Oh, I'm so excited to see you're here. So I just asked the question, what it is that you're most, desiring to bring in to this new year. And then, of course, any questions that you guys have to ask me, I'm here to answer questions. I'm here for you. Whatever you want to know about my personal life, about coaching, about a little hot seat, I can invite you into this live if you want. We can do a little back and forth coaching. But yeah, I was saying I'm going to be offering one of my last group live courses for the new year, which I'm really excited about offering as well. It's going to be really juicy. It's going to be small. It's going to be about 10 women, and it's going to be a writing course, rewriting your sexual story. And so we're going to really dive deep into the components of what does sexuality mean? How do we respond to that? How do we make choices based on our experience with sexuality? So many of the people that I work with have had an experience in their youth or their upbringing that has hindered them from being fully sexually expressive or inviting the right kind of partner into their lives because of this inhibition to feel confident in your body. So our sexuality has a direct relationship with our confidence, right? With the way that we walk, the way that we interact with other people, the way that we understand what we want to do in this world, our purpose. And for me, it's been a great lesson in connecting with my sexuality and being really understanding my sexuality and being really clear in what I want. And that wasn't so clear when I wasn't really clear, or I felt like I couldn't be sensually or sexually expressive to my true nature. So we're going to go through that. Hi, all these new faces. Okay, I got a couple questions, so let me answer them. From Renata, I was very curious about your post recently, desensitization of our minds and porn. Yes. So, porn is an interesting topic for me. I actually am really pro porn because I am pro a lot of things, as far as sexuality goes. And I think there's a lot of shaming around porn. And I don't think that porn should be shamed. I think that it is actually a very useful tool, and I think that unfortunately a lot of the porn that people have been exposed to is, super fake and unrealistic, and that creates a desensitization in how we connect with our partners in real time, right? So if you're really young and you grow up just watching a lot of very unrealistic porn, then that creates an unrealistic mind and kind of, fantasy role play in your mind for when you're with a partner, and it's just not good education, right? So if that's the first level of education that we're getting, which it is, especially for boys, now girls and all genders have more access to different variations of porn, but it wasn't like that even just 5 years ago, let alone like 10 years ago. So I think that now there's a lot of really good options. There's a lot of female-based porns. There's a lot of really sensual-based porns that are more realistic. They really show what couples want. They show more intimacy, and so for that reason, I think it's great to explore porn. I think it's great to explore all kinds of porn, especially with your partner, because those are sides of ourselves that we don't generally show our partners, but it can really be an insight into your turn-ons and your erotic mind, and that can allow for more conversation, more availability of just getting to know your lover and getting to share that vulnerable part of yourself, right? That can be a very vulnerable thing to share what you like, as far as porn goes, because it can be sensitive. It can be oh, I don't want to share that I like that because it's my thing, or maybe it's wrong, or all that stuff comes up, right? So I think porn is a great gateway into understanding more about our deeper fantasies and our desires that we tend to not always share with our partners, which is part of the coaching that I do, is being able to really freely speak your desires and speak your mind with your partner, so that you're getting your needs met, you're getting your desires met, you're getting your touch met, you're getting the conversation and the intellectual stimulation met. Okay, let me answer another question. What does a coaching session look like with me? Ooh, I'm getting all sorts of questions. This is fun. Coaching with me looks like I do everything somatically. So somatic means with the body. So unlike like a therapy session, a traditional therapy session where you're talking about what's going on for you, and I would be listening, and then possibly I'd give you some tips to go home and try. We actually, in the session, we do real-time practices and exercises. So I am literally watching you bump up against what is blocking you from whatever it is that you're wanting to access in your life. So whether it be more intimacy, or if you're having a hard time communicating with your partner, or maybe intimacy is fizzled out, what we're going to do is in the moment, we're going to practice those things. So we're going to do some role playing. We do a lot of different touch exercises to understand what feeling and bringing back sensation is in the body. I do sexological body work, so that's also hands-on body work. I work with the pelvic floor. I do a lot of anatomy, teaching of the anatomy, understanding our parts, so we can create more sensation there, and articulation of what we want, what we don't want. So it's very fun sessions, and you also learn a lot, and you can also take away a lot of that instantaneously, right after a session. You can play with that, and you have muscle memory. And that's a little bit. You're interested in that, Rachel? Great. Yeah, message me. I'm available. Right now I'm not taking on very many one-on-one. I'm doing the group, which includes all of that as well, and I think it's really beautiful because you get to connect with other women and share in your experience, and it's just as beneficial. But send me a message and we can talk. I'm happy to do that. And let's see. Any suggestions, advice on changing one's perspective of oneself, of one's sexuality? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. If you mean, maybe you can clarify but like on changing one's perspective as far as sexuality being like interested in different sexes, or yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that. I personally feel like, you know, attraction is attraction, and it doesn't necessarily matter who or what that person's gender is or what their association to that is. For me, it's more about like I'm a bit sapiosexual, so I'm very much attracted to intellect. I'm attracted to one's mind. I'm attracted to it doesn't have as much to do with gender. I'm not sure if that's your question or not, so I'm not going to go too far into that. Oh, hi, Jacqueline. Yay! Okay, what else here? I ask to dig deeper, as I too am totally disgusted by the ordinary porn industry and culture, but for vulva owners and how we are trying to empower our pleasure. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so thankfully there is a lot more availability for great porn. I love, there's a brand called XO Afterglow. I've written a few articles for them. They offer a lot of like real authentic porn, and it's all from the female gaze, so it's very authentic to that. I would go check that out. I'm actually going to be doing a post that will give some more information and resources for better, more realistic porn sites, so you guys can check that out soon. Okay. Let's see, what else? No more porn, I'm going to cut down. No, you don't have to cut down. You don't have to cut down. Just be realistic about what your intentions are. You know, I think it's always good to be mindful of what our intentions are when we're seeking intimacy and when we're seeking pleasure. So, you know, when we self-pleasure, when we masturbate, when we watch porn, when we go out and meet somebody and have like a one-night stand, even when we're with our partners, you know, we can be mindless, or we can be mindful, and we can set intentions for how we want that connection to be. So whatever practice you're doing, just try setting that intention before you go into it, and also take some time after your experience and really ask yourself, like, what did that do for me? Do I feel really satisfied and satiated? How is this going to allow me to like go into my day? Do I feel more recharged? Do I feel depleted? Like, those are all like questions that we should be asking yourself, really, like in all the things that we do in our life. Pleasure is just one aspect, and watching porn can either be expansive in your erotic process, or it can hinder your experience in other ways. So just pay attention to that. Let's see, what are some ways to open the conversation, communicate your fantasies to your partner when dealing with fear of creating insecurities, misunderstandings? Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Oh, well, I think, first of all, you want to get clear on what your fantasies are, right? Like, what is it that you're hiding, that you're not sharing and not being totally true about, why you haven't even been sharing that with your partner? And, you know, spend some time in that vulnerability, because the clearer that we can get in that vulnerable space and understand where it's coming from, it becomes easier to share it with our partner. And then when you're, you know, in a place where you want to talk about some intimacy, or talk about, like, you know, maybe exploring more things in the bedroom together, you can first share, like, start off by saying, this is vulnerable for me. Like, I want to share something with you, but it feels a little scary to me because I've never shared it before, or I'm not sure how you're going to respond. And that really sets a nice tone for you to be off the hook and already say, like, I'm afraid. I don't want you to get mad. I don't want you to reject me. I'm feeling all these feelings, like, but I do want to share with you. So this is an attempt for me to build more intimacy and for us to be closer. And when you set the stage like that, it becomes much easier to talk truthfully, because your partner is going to be understanding. I mean, make sure that they respond and they're also in a space, like they may be really busy or may have other things going on. So first you want to check in, is this a good time to talk about that? Do you have time to actually receive what I'm going to say? And if it is something vulnerable and scary to say, you want to make sure that you have the container to be met in sharing something so vulnerable, right? So make sure that they have that space and time and that you guys can have an actual conversation about it. And if they do, then yeah, just go ahead and share as much as you can. And then, you know, you can say, this is something I want to continue exploring and expanding on. I would also love to hear what your fantasies are, what desires you may have not shared with me before. And yeah, I think that's a beautiful question to ask, and it should be more normalized. So yeah, we can, if you want, we can have a deeper conversation about that, because that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Let's see, I have only a couple more minutes because I'm about to go teach the group class, Awakening Aphrodite. We're just wrapping that up, and right now we're going to be doing our vulva show and share. So really juicy part of the course, some of the teachings that I've learned from learning from Betty Dodson, who's a pioneer in opening up the space for sexuality and self-pleasure. And so one of the activities that we're going to do in the course is showing our vulvas to each other and like honoring it, because they all look so different, right? Each one of our vulvas looks very, very different from another, and unfortunately from porn and from other kind of representations, we've only seen like one kind of style, right? We haven't seen like all the diversity. And so a result of that is that we can think that there's something wrong with us. We can feel insecure in partnered sex, about showing ourselves, about oral sex, even like looking at ourselves. So we show and we share, and we just like honor the beauty in each other and celebrate our differences and our beauty, and it's really, really fun. So I'm about to do that in 2 minutes, so I only have 1 more minute here, and there are a few questions that I didn't get to answer, but I guess I will respond to them later. I got some questions about honesty. Yeah, that's a good topic I'd love to get into. But I just want to thank you guys all for showing up, for being here. It's been so great to connect with you guys. Thanks for coming with juicy questions. Let's do this again. Yeah, I'd love to start doing this weekly and just answer more of your questions. And please, if you're interested, join me for the Pleasure Igniting Your Pleasure workshop this weekend. It's going to be Saturday and Sunday. At 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It will be recorded, so you can catch the replay, but just make sure that you sign up. There's a link in my bio to sign up and register for that, so you'll get all the emails, you'll get the recordings. I want to apologize to all the amazing men that follow me, because this will be for women, but I will be doing a course soon in a workshop that is inclusive of men or just for men. So don't worry about that. I think that's super important, and I love working with men, and I think that's so awesome that you're here following me. Thank you so much, even though this is a majority of content for women, but really it's for everybody, right? If women are learning, then the men are learning, and everybody in between is learning. So thank you so much, and I love you all. Have a beautiful night, and we'll connect soon.